You know that feeling, right? That nagging sense that the gap between the rich and, well, everyone else is becoming a massive canyon. Here in Taiwan, that feeling is everywhere. It's this constant hum of anxiety in the background. But what if I told you there's a hidden economic engine that's actually driving this divide? One that the usual reports just don't capture. Well, today, we're going to pop the hood, find that engine, and see exactly how it works. So, right off the bat, we've got a real puzzle on our hands. The official numbers seem to be telling one story, but the feeling on the street, our actual lived experience, is telling a totally different one. How can both of these things be true at the same time? How can the data look fine, while so many people feel like society is splitting right down the middle? That's the big mystery we're diving into. Okay, let's start with that official story. You're looking at the Gini coefficient. It's the standard go-to metric all around the world for measuring income inequality. And Taiwan's number? Honestly, by international standards, it's not setting off any five-alarm fires. It's actually been pretty stable for years. But, and this is a huge but, this one little number is hiding a much, much bigger story. And then there's this number, 1.16. And this, right here, is where things start to get really interesting. See, this shows the gap between the average income and the median income, the person standing smack dab in the middle. When this number starts creeping up, it means a handful of super high earners at the very, very top are dragging that average way up, leaving most of us in the dust. This is our first major clue that something is going on beneath the surface. So this really gets to the heart of it all. A tale of two Taiwans. There's the Taiwan you see in the spreadsheets, where things look stable. And then there's the Taiwan people actually live in, where it feels like they're being left behind. To really understand this gap, we need to go beyond the usual data. We need a new tool for our investigation.
And to solve this puzzle, we're going to have to bring in the big guns, returning to the groundbreaking work of economist Thomas Piketty. He developed this incredibly powerful theory that honestly, it acts like an X-ray, letting us see the hidden structures of inequality that are normally completely invisible.
Okay, first things first, let's get our terms straight. When Piketty talks about capital, he doesn't just mean factories and equipment. He means all the wealth that makes money for you. Think about the apartment you might rent out, your stock portfolio, your investments. Basically, it's your own personal money-making machine. Next up, we have G, and G is for growth. This is simply how fast the entire economic pie is getting bigger each year. You know, it's that rising tide that's supposed to lift all boats, including your salary from the job you work. And finally, there's R, the rate of return on capital. Now, this is the magic part of having wealth. It's the speed at which your existing wealth grows all by itself, through rent, stock dividends, and, you guessed it, rising property values. This is the money your money makes for you while you're sleeping. So, I want you to picture this as a race, a really long one, like a marathon that spans decades. In one lane, you've got R, the speed of wealth. In the other lane, you've got G, the speed of the whole economy and everyone's wages. And believe it or not, the entire fate of our society's fairness, that feeling of opportunity, it all hangs on the outcome of this one epic race. And here it is, the simple but totally revolutionary discovery at the heart of Piketty's entire work. R is greater than G. After digging through centuries of data from dozens of countries, he found this fundamental tendency. The return on existing wealth almost always outpaces the growth of the overall economy. This isn't some bug in the system. He argues it's a core feature of capitalism itself. So what does that actually mean in plain English? It means if you already have wealth, capital, it's growing faster than the wages of people who have to work for a living. This creates a really dangerous feedback loop. Think of it like a snowball of inequality rolling downhill. It just gets bigger and bigger and moves faster and faster, pulling society apart as it goes. All right, so let's take this incredibly powerful lens and bring it right back home to Taiwan. Is this R is greater than G engine firing on all cylinders here on the island? Let's take a closer look. And suddenly, that 1.16 number we saw earlier, the gap between the average and the middle person, it makes perfect sense. It's the smoking gun. It's the flashing red light on the dashboard telling us that R over G is absolutely at play here, with the massive returns on capital for just a few at the top pulling that average income far, far away from everybody else. Now let's break down the two sides of the equation in Taiwan. First, let's look at G, economic growth. Let's be real. Taiwan's miracle growth days, the era of that explosive, double-digit expansion, well, those are over. As a mature, developed economy, growth has slowed down to a relative crawl. So the G in our formula is low. That's one half of the story. And here's the other, much more explosive half. While the overall economy has slowed down, the value of key assets, and we're especially talking about real estate in big cities like Taipei, has just skyrocketed. For decades, the returns on this type of capital have absolutely crushed the rate of economic growth. This is R in action, big time. That inequality engine isn't just running in Taiwan, it's in overdrive. So, where exactly does this road lead? If we let this engine keep running at full throttle, what kind of society are we actually building for the next generation? The answer, frankly, is a little bit unsettling.
Piketty has a specific name for this destination: patrimonial capitalism. And what that means is a society where your last name, your inheritance, can become more important than your own talent and hard work. It's a society where you are far more likely to inherit a fortune than you are to actually make one. It's a throwback to an older, less fair world where the position you start from is everything.
And this right here is exactly why people feel so much anxiety. It's why the official income data just doesn't capture the whole picture. The real anxiety isn't just about the rich having a good year. It's about that gut feeling that the ladder of opportunity is being pulled up right behind them. It's that feeling that no matter how hard you work, you can never, ever catch up to the speed of wealth. It's the feeling of being lapped in that epic race between R and G.
So are we just stuck with this? Can anything be done? Piketty argues, yes, absolutely. And the main tool we have is tax policy. You see, right now, in many places, including Taiwan, income you get from labor, from your job, is often taxed more heavily than income from capital gains, especially from real estate. This is like strapping a turbocharger onto that RG engine, just making the whole problem worse.
But here's the crucial thing. This is not destiny. It is the result of policy choices. There are clear levers that societies can pull. We can choose to make tax systems fairer. We can choose to make sure that income from wealth is taxed just as much, if not more, than income from work. And we can use things like inheritance tax to break that cycle of permanent concentrated advantage. We have the ability to slow this engine down. So in the end, R is greater than G is so much more than just a dry economic formula. It's a choice. It's a choice between a future where your success is determined by your talent and your effort, or a future where it's decided by the family you were lucky or unlucky enough to be born into. And that is the fundamental question that haunts our 21st century world.